This video will introduce you to an important visual strategy called the area model and how it helps students to better understand adding and subtracting fractions. In this video, you will learn how area models can be used to help students understand and create equivalent fractions, how area models are a great visual strategy to help students to create equal-sized pieces so that they are able to add, subtract, or compare fractions.
In order to solve the problem 1/3 plus 2/6, I'm going to use a visual strategy called the area model. Using this strategy, students will create equal-sized pieces so they can add their fractions. First, I will draw a square and split it into 3 equal groups, or thirds. I will then shade in one of the 3 parts to represent my first fraction, 1/3. Next, I will draw another square and split it into 6 equal groups, or sixths. I will then shade in 2 parts of the 6 parts to represent 2/6. And that represents my second fraction. I know that when I add fractions, I need to combine equal size pieces, or parts. Since I know that 6 is twice as many as 3, I know I can create sixths in the first visual by increasing the parts by 2 times as many. The number of parts shaded will also increase by 2 times. So to increase the number of parts, I will draw a line across the middle of my first visual, creating an area of 2 times 3, equaling 6 smaller parts that are equal in size to the second visual. Now I can add the fractions because the visuals represent the same size pieces. 2/6 plus 2/6 is equal to 4/6. Therefore, 1/3 plus 2/6 is equal to 4/6. In order to solve the problem 2/4 minus 1/8, I'm going to use a visual strategy called the area model. Using this strategy, students will create equal-sized pieces so they can subtract their fractions. First, I will draw a square and split it into 4 equal groups, or fourths. I will then shade in 2 of the 4 parts to represent 2/4. Next, I will draw another square and split it into 8 equal groups, or eighths. I will then shade in one of the 8 parts to represent 1/8. I know that when I subtract fractions, I need to subtract equal-sized parts. Since I know that 8 is twice as many as 4, I know I can create eighths in the first visual by increasing the parts by 2 times as many. Then the number of parts shaded will also increase by 2 times. So to increase the number of parts, I will draw a line across the middle of my first square, creating an area of 2 times 4, equaling 8 smaller parts that are equal in size to the second visual. Now I could subtract the fractions because the visuals represent the same size pieces. 4/8 minus 1/8 equals 3/8. Therefore, 2/4 minus 1/8 equals 3/8.
Now that you have seen some examples of area models for adding and subtracting fractions, we want you to keep in mind that by creating equal-sized pieces for both visual models, it allows you to easily compare, add, or subtract fractions. In this video, hopefully you will have learned how area models can be used to help students understand and create equivalent fractions, how area models are a great visual strategy to help students to create equal-sized pieces so that they are able to add, subtract, or compare fractions.